Happy Friday. Welcome back to the She Shed, all you floozies, especially the true crime floozies. Friday night knitting is on. Hello, Diamond Girl. I really hope that you are feeling better very soon. And I really hope that it's not the flu because it will kick your living butt. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So I hope that's not it. Hello, Rosie. Nisi, I love it. She's making sunflower squares and she's listening in the kitchen. Thank you so much. Sharon Creates is here. She's the host of those squares, you guys. If you don't know about it, look on hers and mine, and there are videos for you. Hello, Tammy. How are you tonight, hon? I hope you are well. Sending out some hugs. Hello, Mary. Good to see you. Who else is here? Suzanne is here. Hello, Suzanne. I'm tired. I have been running around today. Been very, very busy today. Today was a day, but y'all, I am free of the monitor. The monitor is in the mail. So 2 weeks from today, I have an appointment to go see what the monitor said. But I am free of the monitor. I can't tell you how nice it is. Hello, Karen. There's Bree. Hi, Bree. Nana's house is here. Good evening, Nana. Yes, it's great. It was starting to get so itchy. I couldn't, it was just because it wasn't, didn't have anything, breath. I couldn't breathe underneath there. So it was like, it was just starting to get really itchy. It was not terribly uncomfortable. It really was not hard to wear at all. I would give it a 4 out of 5 across the board. It was just a little itchy. That's all. Just the nature of the beast. Hi, Annie. Hi, Lorna. Hey, Linda. Kuti Crocheter. Good to see you. So, yes. So I had to I ran a package and I ran the monitor was the second package. And then I had to take a trash run. I filled up the back of the car with trash and took that to the trash can because we don't have trash out here. So I have to take it to town. And then went to the grocery store because I hadn't been to the grocery store in like 2 weeks. So we had frozen pizza tonight because that was the easy thing to do when you go grocery shopping, right? But I have got menu plans all ready to go. I'm all set. I've got some stuff in the house that I can put that stuff together. So I am happy about that. Back to the camper. You've been working on the camper and I love the color. I'm loving the color of the camper. I'm wishing I had gotten one that bright. The one that I have out here in the she shed is not quite as bright as that. So tonight's story is tough, you guys. And I will tell you that there's a lot to this story. And I really am going to give you an introduction to it tonight. I know that several of you have heard about this story. So you already really know this one is a year old as far as the trial. The trial was a year ago. And so it's all over the place. You can look it up. But this is the story of Bart and Krista Halderson and their son Chandler, who killed them. So this is what we call patricide, I think, where you kill your parents. I think that is patricide. Hey, Lisa. Yay, you made it. Whoop, whoop. You followed it a little bit, Annie? So glad you're here. So, and tonight I'm working on my hat. Oh. I could share my screen first. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's okay. You're just hollering at us, aren't you? Aren't you, Annie? Oh, and at the same time, just so y'all know, I may be looking away. I may be a bit distracted because Chelsea is at Hobby Lobby. I'm slightly distracted by something. So one moment, please. Uh-oh. She found those. Um, wow. Wow. I'm so distracted right now. Can y'all see? Look at oh, that one right there. That blue one. That looks good, doesn't it? You trying to do 29 things too? Okay. Oh, so you're gonna be well, I think they're easy enough. Once you make one, Annie, you'll wanna make several of them. Hi, Frozen. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait. There's more. Oh, you better be getting those. Hold on, let me message her back. Y'all understand, right? Hi, Kathy. You guys, this is a hat, and this yarn is the reflective yarn, basic stitch, Lion Brand basic stitch reflective yarn, and then I'm making it into a paw hat. And so when I get to the point where I put the paws in there, I'm going to be using the glow in the dark yarn for it. Thank you. What is this color? This is called Volt yellow. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Okay. All right, Chelsea, if you're listening, I have to get back to this. So I'm going to start and give you an introduction to the story. They aren't marked down. What? Oh, no. Well, that's a coping mechanism, isn't it, Annie? It's a coping mechanism. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is out of Windsor, Wisconsin, which is just south of DeFrost. Okay. Bart and Krista Halderson have two sons, Mitchell and Chandler. Mitchell's just a little bit older than Chandler, and he's been living outside of the home at this time. He he's engaged and he was working in IT, and he and his girlfriend were buying a house. Chandler is at this time is 23 years old, and he's living at home. On July 1st of 2021, now y'all, this is interesting because the last case that we covered, the Alec Murdaugh trial, happened in June of 2021. Now we're going 1 month ahead to July of 2021. And Chandler goes to the Dane County Sheriff's Office to file a missing persons report. Yes. So this is his story. Oh, the bacon was too. Yes, Chelsea. Oh, that's funny, Annie. Oh, I am sure he understands. I didn't check to see if my volume was up. Okay, good. My volume is up because I turn it down sometimes when I'm editing. So I always have to make sure that I have turned it back up. Y'all can hear me okay, except for bacon. They must be having, Nisi must be having breakfast for dinner. Okay. Chelsea, get the must be merinos. You can't go wrong with those must be merinos. Those are a 4-weight yarn with merino in them. Hi, Denny. Okay. So here is what Chandler says happened. He says his parents went to the cabin up north for the weekend. Now, this is over the 4th of July weekend, okay? Now, remember, he goes down to the sheriff's office on the 7th of July. This is after the 4th of July weekend. He goes down to file a missing persons report, okay? And he says they have gone to the they've gone to the up to the cabin, to their cabin up in Langland County for the weekend. But they haven't come home. So they were going to come back on Monday or Tuesday. And he says he helped them pack on Thursday night. And he thinks they must have left early Friday morning before he got up at 6 a.m. Okay, so he's saying he got up early, 6 a.m. on Friday morning, and they weren't there. He doesn't know who they went with, and their cars are still at the house. Now, here's what he says he packed. He said he helped them pack bottles of liquor, lots of money. One report said there was at least 4,000 missing out of their safe. So, and then there was like tools and silver bars. Some of the reasons that he gave were different depending on who he was talking to, but he said that they went to fix a window, that there was some plumbing issues, that there was storm damage. So it all depended on who he was talking to, but he would tell everybody, you know, they went up there to do some stuff at the cabin. I would say at least a couple of each, honey. None of the ugly colors, though. If you don't like the colors, you know I won't. Okay. So basically, he says that they leave in an unknown car with an unknown couple with an unknown amount of money for an unknown reason. That's his story. And they haven't come home. So the sheriff's deputies start asking him questions because they're like, well, have you heard from them? He says, yeah. He says, my mom texted me. So Krista texted him, and this is what she said. He actually did get a text from his mom. She says, made it safely. Can't get anything through. Yes, it's packed. Going to White Lake today for the parade. We'll be home Monday night, Tuesday early. I love you lots. That was her text to Chandler. So now the deputies, they've got a few theories, okay? So they say, well, did they go gambling? Did they crash? Were they kidnapped by this other couple? Where are they? They have no... They have no idea where these people are. They just seemingly have vanished, okay? So they talk to their coworkers because, of course, they have not shown up. So they talk to their coworkers, and neither Bart or Krista would ever no-show to work, which they both did on that Friday. Okay? On that Friday, neither of them showed up to work. So they started, this is what investigators do. Who was the last person to see them? Who was the last person who was with them? Who reported them missing? Chandler. He's the answer to all those questions. So police start looking into Chandler. Now, here's from the outset what Chandler looked like, okay? According to what he wanted everyone to think and what his parents thought was going on, and there's a lot more behind all this, but this is seemingly what, when they first start to look into Chandler, this is what they learn. They learn that he's going to school at Madison College. So he's living at home and going to college. He's going to get a hybrid IT degree doing something with renewable resource engineering. And he's close to graduating. He's about to get a certificate. And there's some testimony later on about this whole certificate thing, and that's part of how this whole thing comes apart. Now, he had told his parents that he'd been working for a company called American Family Insurance, and he'd been doing that from home, okay? And then, but he was changing jobs. Here he is, he's fixing to graduate, he's going to get this renewable resource thing going on, and he had just got hired at SpaceX. Yes, SpaceX. And he's going to go down and he's going to move to Titusville, Florida with his girlfriend. Now, they had rented an apartment there. They had bought a car. There was a whole deal. They're going to go to Florida. Him and her, they're starting a whole new life together. With him, he's going to be working at SpaceX. Now, part of the time he'd been working, supposedly, he'd been working with the Madison Police Department in the Natural Resources Department as a scuba diver on the rescue team. So, like search and recovery. Okay. And the only thing that had shown up that was at least a little bit odd was the fact that Chandler recently had gotten a head injury. Now, he fell down the stairs, and his parents took him in, and he supposedly had a concussion. He was having trouble moving his legs, and like numbness and tingling and all of these kind of things going on. They had sent him home with a neck brace to wear, and he was telling everyone that he couldn't do anything without this brace. He had to wear this brace 24/7. Okay. Now, so all of this seems okay. So far, nothing's really sticking out to them. It seems a little odd that the parents, aren't, that just weird that grown people don't. Somebody doesn't know where they're at. Okay, but other than that, they start to say, okay, well, we need to check Chandler out a little bit farther. You know, So they start to talk to people, like corroborate his story, where he was. They need to do that first. So they start to talk to people who were with Chandler. And the one person who spent the most time with Chandler, and there were other people, he was seen with other people. But the one that spent the most time with him was his girlfriend. Now she calls him, and a lot of his friends and his girlfriend, they called him Chaz, short for Chandler, Chaz. And his girlfriend's name is, her short nickname is Cat. It's Catherine, but she goes by Cat. And they start to ask her some questions. And she says, yes, she says, I was with him all weekend. She said, we went to my family's farm. We swam in the pool. We had dinner, just like a normal 4th of July weekend. So police go out and they talk to the family that owns the farm. And this is where things get a little weird, is when they go and they talk to this family member of, this is a family member of Cat, not Chaz, but Cat. I think she's like an aunt or something. And they go talk to her, and she says, yeah, she said he was here for the 4th. And then he showed up the next day by himself. Now, she had kind of given him like a blanket sort of, come anytime, you can go swimming, just whenever, um, we'd love to have you come back, all that kind of stuff, right? So he does the next day by himself. And she says he was just acting really bizarre. He told her that he had had a doctor's appointment and that he'd gotten some really bad news. And it meant that he was not going to get the job at SpaceX, that he was going to lose that because he wasn't able to get down there. And because of what was going on with his physical disability, the whole thing that went on with the concussion and the fall, that he wasn't going to be able to travel, and he wasn't going to be able to go to the orientation, which meant he wasn't going to get that job. He was really, things were going bad, and he just was just awful. And so she had told him, she said, well, if you want to swim, go ahead and swim, whatever. So she goes back to the house, and she comes back an hour later, and he is nowhere around at the pool. And it doesn't look like anybody's even been in the pool. There's no splashing. There's no, nothing. She says nobody's been in the pool. But she sees his car. And his car is parked out on the property, but out away from the pool. And it's in the field. And it's backed up to where there's a bunch of really tall grass. And the hatch is up. on the vehicle. And she's thinking, this is just, what is going on? But she doesn't see him, so she gets in the pool and she starts swimming. And then she sees Chandler coming out of the woods. He walks out of the woods back there by his car. So, the detectives are actually at this farm when they are interviewing her. And one detective looks up and he sees vultures circling above. Well, there's one thing it means when you see vultures circling. There's something dead. Something dead is around. So they start to walk out into those woods and go check out where she was talking about, where things were going on. And it's like 20 yards into the woods. There is a pile of debris. And they find part of Bart. Only part of him. It's a human torso, which they later, through DNA and other things, they figure out that it's Bart. There is no head. There's no arms. The legs are cut off just below his underwear, where there's part of his pants showing. Okay, checking my text. Y'all hold on. Oh, holy moly. I don't know, Chels. Maybe just the flowers, Chels. The flowers. That's all I think. I think those are the only ones I would like to do. Okay. So they roll this torso over and there are gunshots in his back. So now this entire farm is a crime scene. Yes, and second picture on the bottom. I treated myself to a Canada Dry today. What are y'all drinking and what are y'all working on? So they bring out drones and cadaver dogs and they're looking through everything. Absolutely. They take this farm apart. These poor people, he's there one weekend and now their whole lives are just taken completely apart. And I'm sure they're horrified knowing what has been found and what's going on. Absolutely horrified that they had this guy on their property. It has to be. It's awful. I mean, it'd be tough to sleep. It'd be tough to do anything. Okay, honey, just let me know. Coffee, water, and the Dickies. She's sipping tequila rose on ice. Sounds good. The doll blankets with scrap leftovers. Pinwheel scrap blanket. Ooh, awesome. Hey, Sally, water and working on a kimono. I have a book of kimonos I need to get out. Tina Lawrence, good to see you. A scrappy granny shawl with fingering weight yarn. Nice. Linda's working on a baby blanket and drinking iced coffee. Ooh, iced coffee sounds good. I'm going to be drinking more iced coffee coming up, I think. I think I'll be making some iced coffee in the refrigerator. I've got some sweet tea in the refrigerator. So they start looking and looking and looking, and some of the other things that they find at this farm. They find a garbage can a little out into the woods, and it's full of a tarp. And it has Bart and Krista's blood on it. And another detective notices a barrel, and this barrel was right where the homeowner said that Chandler's vehicle had been and where he had walked out. And this is like an old, like, oil barrel. And inside that barrel, they find broken saw blades, scissors, tree loppers that all tested positive for Krista and Bart's blood and tissue. And even months later, they were still finding evidence out here at this farm. The homeowner was cleaning out one of the garages, and only 100 yards from where Bart was found was a gun hidden behind several boards. So it was leaning against a wall, and several boards had been placed in front of it. And that was months even after this happened. Hello, Marcia. Yes, Yardy Goodness and True Crime. We're here for it. Diet Coke and a baby blanket. Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. Karen finished that wrap. Oh, soak and block. Okay, can't wait to see it. So, police decide they're going to have to ask, before they can arrest anybody, they're beginning to put some things together. But first they need to do a more formal interview. So they decide to bring Chandler and Kat, his girlfriend, in. And they have them come down. They put them in separate rooms. And they're talking to Chandler. And I have watched Chandler's interview. And he is so flat during this interview. He's hardly really telling anybody anything. He's saying the same thing he said when he went down and said they were missing and blah, blah, blah. He's going on and on. The same old, same old. But Kat, she's in the other room and she's just telling them everything. She's telling them all kinds of stuff, you know. She wants to be very, very helpful. And she's wanting to give them as much information as she can. And she has watched a lot of crime stuff. And she says, you know, that she knows the best way whenever, you know, they always start to look at the people who are the closest. And she said the best way to clear that person is to give them as much information as they can so they can clear them. So that's what she's going to do. She's just going to give them, she's showing them pictures, she's showing them text messages, and she's showing them Snapchats. And she does not think for a moment that Chandler has anything to do with this, okay? She was with him. As far as she knows, she was with him most of the weekend, and she doesn't see how he could in any way be involved. Now, the investigators, as things go along, you know, they had to eliminate Kat as an accomplice. And they could not totally eliminate her as an accomplice because she did do some things for Chaz, but she had no idea why she was doing it. She didn't know anything. She had no idea anything was going on. She was just He said, oh, go get this or go do that. And she did it, but she had no idea anything was happening, that anything had happened at all. She didn't know anything. Must be my daughter and my grandkids, y'all. I taught her well. And when I was watching this trial, because I have watched this entire trial all the way through, I watched it back when it was going a year ago, and I am rewatching the trial so that I can pick up any nuances that I may have missed before as I am relaying this to you guys. And I really wondered about Kat and whether she actually knew or didn't know. But I will tell you as we go farther into it that there is no way. There's no way she knew anything, and I feel so bad for her. And I saw her on the stand, and it was just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. But Kat does say that she left early on Saturday morning, left Chandler's early on Saturday morning, and she said Chandler had told her that he was going to go ahead. He was going to be at home. He was going to be doing chores. And she said, but it was weird because they share their Snapchat locations with each other because, boyfriend, girlfriend. I mean, in hers, she has him listed as hubby. Well, she looks at her Snapchat, looks at his Snapchat location, and he's in a very weird spot. And so she took a screenshot of it because she thought something weird with her, with her phone or with her Snapchat, something weird had happened. So she took a screenshot of it. And she showed, it showed Chandler in the forest on the banks of the Wisconsin River. And this is like at 9 something in the morning after she had left. And she just thought this was just weird because he told her he'd be at home doing chores. So police go out. They identify this spot, okay? It's near a bridge. They get the dogs. They get the drones. They get the search team. And you know what they find? They find Krista. They don't find all of her. They find her legs. They find a foot. They find a thigh. That's all they ever find of Krista. This is all happening while they are interviewing, during the times that they're interviewing everybody. And part of the detectives are doing their interview, and part of the detectives are out looking for evidence. And they already know that it's Chandler, but they have to put everything together where when they arrest him, they're going to have enough to prove it's him. And they're doing all of this at the same time. And they interview people who have known Chandler, and they said that there was this place that he liked out by the river, and it was a secret swimming spot, and that it was a place that he liked to go and hang out. And when people would come and visit with him, they'd go out there and they'd go swimming and hanging out. And then one friend, he had a picture on his phone of Chandler in this spot, okay? And Chandler is hanging from this tree. He's got his one arm hanging from the tree. He's got his feet up against this tree. He has no shirt on. He's got, swim trunks on. And in the other hand, the hand that's kind of like dangling down, he's got a machete. And eventually the detectives look at this tree and they say, "This is strange. This looks very familiar." And they realize that tree is the same tree. They compare it. Somebody goes out, takes a picture, and they compare the tree, and it's 100 yards from where they found Krista. So they arrest Chandler. And things get much more gruesome and much more terrible as it goes along. This is only the beginning. And like I said, this was just an introduction to this. I would like to continue to give you more information about it. But it was a really packed week of things that happened. Okay, so he comes in on the 7th of July and reports them missing. They arrested him on the 8th. Only took them 24 hours before they arrested him. So that's what I've got for you for the first installment of this one. So how many of you have already listened to this part? Not just what I said. I mean, you've seen this trial? Any of you? Did any of you follow this trial, or would it? Yeah, it was quick. Okay, now I have not, Annie. The name sounds familiar. I've seen it, but I don't. Oh, so you have been following this much more closely, Sally. Yes. You were right there hearing all of this. Now, hadn't heard about it. Okay. The first thing on Law and Crime with which one, Karen? See, that's the thing. We get confused on our cases. We start talking about other cases, we get confused. So I will bring you some more, and a lot of what I have just read to you is coming from the prosecution. And I will tell you, when it came to this case, what I thought was very, very interesting is that the prosecution in this case laid out exactly what happened, and then they proved it with all of the people they brought in, all of the detectives, everyone who worked in the lab. They laid every single thing. They told you what they think happened, and then they laid it all out there, and that is exactly what they told you. And so, and I have never seen anything that was put together, a case put together nearly. That's why when I was watching the Alec Murdaugh case, I was like, oh, this is driving me nuts, because that case was all over the place. It was not, the judge was not keeping everybody under control, and it was just so lackadaisical, people walking around, and you didn't have that with the Chandler case. You just did not have that. It's so much more put together, and it's just, was night and day between the two trials, let me tell you. So yes, we're going to get into that later, Nana, but yes, that's exactly what he did. Absolutely, he sent himself that text. Yes. Yes. Yep. Burnt things in the fireplace. Smelled like barbecue. Terrible. Just terrible. I tell you guys though, the judge, when this case was done, the judge cried. That says a lot about a case and how hard it was on everybody. So we will have some more on it next week. Now, Tuesday, whatever you guys, if you can read any at all about, of our book, this is the book we're going to be reading. We'll start talking about this on Tuesday. That's the book club. Yeah, the cabin. They walked around the cabin. Yes. Yes. Capital murder. Yes. That, I'm afraid that's just not going to happen. But yes, that would be nice. Oh, awesome. And remember that we're going to be doing something golden. So I have a project that I would like to do. I'm really hoping to do. We'll see if I can start that at some point during this book. I want to do this project. You'll see. If it works out, you'll see. Okay, you guys, I'm going to duck out early tonight. This allergy stuff is just ugh. Yes, we're doing books on Tuesday nights. Well, Nana, I'm not really sure whether you would call this premeditated. I'm not sure whether you would. Oh, you got gold yarn? Oh, good. As we find out when we get farther along into this, I'm not sure whether we could call it premeditated. I think that I don't want to say he just snapped, but I do think he made it was a short, if it was premeditated, it was a short time frame. It was a really short time frame. Yes. I know. And I was really trying hard not to take anything today. So, of course, I hadn't taken any Sudafed or anything like that, but I'm probably going to take a Benadryl here in a little bit. And that right there is really what happened. The parents were going to find out that he was lying. That the father had already found out. Okay? The father had already found out. And the father was killed first. So I will give you a lot more next week. Now, I don't know whether we'll finish or not, but we'll try. Okay, you guys, have an awesome night. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Everybody get better. Those of you that are not feeling good, I hope you feel better soon. Joan, feel better. I know Granny D wasn't feeling well. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Crochet Rossetti is back doing videos again. If you guys are interested, go check her out. We will be here Sunday. Absolutely. Sunday in the She Shed. And I'm going to gather up everything everything I'm working on and give you guys an update on how all my projects are going. Okay? All right, you guys. Good night. Have fun today. I'll see you later. Love y'all.